Great, thanks so much for joining. We're going to be discussing how to utilize social media to expand your reach and get better candidates. This is actually the third webinar in a 6-webinar series that we're calling Secrets from a Marketing Geek. And in this series, I'm spilling all my best marketing tips and then sharing how they can be best applied for recruitment. So if you'd like to watch the previous 2 or register for the next 3, go ahead and visit bright.com/recruiter/webinars. We did previously discuss building out a career site that converts visitors into applicants, as well as driving traffic to that career site with advertising. And today's presentation is going to cover driving additional traffic. I'm Jen Card, and I'm the marketing geek here at Bright. Our mission is to make the hiring process a lot more efficient by showing recruiters on a scale of 0 to 100 how qualified a given candidate is for your position. After posting your job description on Bright, we score your applicants as well as other active candidates from our database. And I'd encourage everybody to see for yourself how this works by signing up for a free trial at bright.com/recruiter. And so Bright helps you find candidates in 2 very distinct ways. First of all, we're a place to post your job advertisement and collect applications. And second of all, we surface additional candidates that have not applied to your positions. In either of these cases, your candidates are scrutinizing you and your company. They're deciding if they either want to apply to your job or if they want to reply to your outbound message to them, your cold call or your email or your tweet or whatever it is. So today we're going to give you some tips on how to stand out from other companies in the space and get those amazing candidates in the world to apply to your jobs by utilizing social media. So first, let's go ahead and talk about why you should be using social media. Social media is a great way to source your candidates, to share your employer brand and your culture, and to provide a better candidate experience for everybody. It's been said that job seekers look at 15 different resources when they're deciding on whether or not they're interested in a company. So that means that they're going on LinkedIn, they're seeing who currently works there, what their background looks like. They may be reaching out to some of your current or past employees and asking them what it was like to work there. They're looking at your Twitter and your Facebook presence and making sure that candidates are happy with your application process, that people want to work there, that they want to work there, that you're sharing information that makes them want to work and apply for your company. Some of them are reading your Glassdoor reviews. There are so many different ways that candidates are looking at your company, and social media is a really great way to have a controlled presence. In marketing, this is what we would call, for the most part, owned, I'm sorry. So you have owned and earned and paid media. And your owned media are things like your website, your social media presence, things that you can control for the most part. Social media, you do have the ability to have candidates right on your wall, to have employees share content. So it's not 100% owned, but for the most part, it's something that you're able to control to a very certain level. Versus your earned media, which is your PR, and your paid media, which would be any of your advertising, which you can also control, obviously. So you want to make sure that you have a presence where your audience is looking for you, and that it shows you in a positive light. And a really big mistake I see in social media over and over again is a company that doesn't respond to its customers and or its candidates that reach out via social media. So you're going to find that your candidates want to talk to you. Just like in marketing in the sales world, let's say, for example, we have a client or a prospective client that calls us or emails us. Every single phone call or email could turn into a potential sale. And social media has become a new way of communication, and it has to be monitored, and communication must be returned in the same way that you would do on a phone call or an email. And the same goes for recruiting, actually. So I know everybody is very busy. You guys have tons of candidates coming in. Everybody's busy. But when I hear candidate stories about recruiters not calling them back or answering a simple tweet or a quick email, I have a hard time understanding how that can be so difficult just to reach out, say, you know what, thank you for your application, you're no longer in consideration. On the other hand, on the flip side, that could really be your next great candidate that's trying to get a hold of you via Twitter or email or phone call or whatever else they're trying to use to reach out to you. The gist of it is that your candidates really just want to know where they stand. They might have questions for you. They might just want to know a couple of things about your company or your position before they spend the time to apply to your job. And this is going to hold true especially for your top candidates. So the most qualified people out there are probably busy. They're not going to waste their time applying to every job under the sun. They're applying just to the ones that they feel are a really great fit for them. And you don't want to scare off those top candidates by not giving them the opportunity to have their questions answered before they apply to your position. So if your top candidate sees also that you're ignoring your social media presence, for example, if people are reaching out to you on Twitter or Facebook or Google+ and asking questions about the status of their application or specific benefits that you have, your top candidates will wonder if you're not answering those types of questions, where else are you going to be sort of a mediocre employer? Are you going to be that unresponsive when they come to work for you? What if they need something in the future? So they want to see that you're going to be, LinkedIn is often considered the go-to social recruitment platform. And there's so many options on LinkedIn that just make it great for recruiting. You have a free profile. You can pay for an upgraded profile. You can utilize a free company page, or you can upgrade your company page as well. And then there's groups as well, which is one of my personal favorites. This screenshot is from this morning actually, and it's a common mistake that I see on LinkedIn. That a lot of people are out there just broadcasting, and this isn't just for LinkedIn, this is for all of the social media platforms out there. If you take a quick look at the status update here, you realize that the first one on here, James, is putting up a job posting that probably isn't going to appeal to most of his followers because it's so specific. He's looking for a sales executive for a startup position. And for startup loans, actually I'm not sure it's startup, sorry. But the second update here that you can see from Lori really appeals to a much larger audience of job seekers, and it actually provides value to them. So if you're the average job seeker, let's say that you're looking for a marketing job or you're looking for an administrative assistant job, the first status update doesn't apply to you, and it won't apply to most of your followers either. But the second status update does apply to anybody in your network that's looking for a job, or even people that are just interested for the next time they look for a job. And that's because it provides value to them. So rather than using your LinkedIn status update to broadcast your jobs, you should try posting news about your company or employer blog articles that you've written, or if you're a staffing company, put in helpful tips. Basically just try and put things into your status updates that a broad range of people can enjoy, and that make people want to come to you to see if you're hiring. So rather than just putting out the job post, some of these other articles are a really great way to get people interested in your company. And they'll just naturally migrate over to your career site, and they'll see what positions you have available, and hopefully also join some sort of talent community that you have set up. So if you were on the first two webinars in the series, you already know how important it is to get people to your website so they can convert into applicants. And like I was saying, this is a really great way to accomplish that. If you do want to post jobs, the place that I would recommend doing it on LinkedIn, obviously other than a paid job posting, which is a given, this is a free way to do it though. You can post them in LinkedIn groups. Again, one of the common mistakes I see is people just kind of posting their jobs in any sort of group. And what I'd recommend is finding a more targeted way to do this. So what you're seeing in this example is B2B, which hosts a LinkedIn group for sales and marketing professionals. So this is a really great way to find some sales and marketing candidates. Obviously, there's a lot of people in this group that are interacting. And there's a job section in this group, which is a really wonderful way to post your sales and marketing jobs to the people that would be getting these digests and participating in the group description, or in the group participation. You also find a lot of success by participating in the discussions. So The discussions that take place on LinkedIn on the main page are a really great way to engage with people. So for example, if somebody writes an article on marketing automation, you can mention that you're always looking for great people that are passionate about what they do. And then you can ask them if they or if anybody that they know would be interested in learning more about your company and your career opportunities. I'd recommend doing this via a direct in-mail to them. And one of the really great things that I like about the groups is that you're able to in-mail anybody that you share a group with for free, as long as they have the correct privacy settings. So to really take advantage of this, you should join 50 groups. That is the max. And find the ones that have the best content, the ones that have the most engagement. And one of the things that I personally like to do with LinkedIn groups is I'll go into my settings and make sure that I send a weekly digest from each group to my inbox, which shows me a summary of all of the discussions. So I can kind of insert my opinions and ask questions and answer questions all from my inbox without actually having to visit all 50 of these groups every single day. If there's a group that I happen to like more than some of the others, then I actually change it to get a daily digest instead of the weekly, which allows me to participate on a much more regular basis. And one of the other tricks I have here is that I filter all of these into a folder on my computer, or a folder in my inbox, so that I only spend about 10 to 20 minutes a day kind of reading through the digest and engaging if I have something valuable to add. You can also use your LinkedIn company page to get great candidates interested in you, to allow them to kind of follow along. So if you joined us last week, we kind of talked about, well, I think this actually was 2 weeks ago, we kind of talked about having secondary calls to action on your website. And the point of the career website, as we discussed a couple of weeks ago, was to get candidates to come to your site, become interested in your company, and eventually convert into a candidate, an applicant for one of your jobs. But some people will come to your site, they'll think that you're a wonderful company to work for, but they might not find that job that really interests them right now. So giving them another opportunity to connect with you, like a LinkedIn company page, is a really wonderful way to keep in touch with these candidates, to keep nurturing them a little bit more. And that way, when they are ready to apply for a position with your company, that you'll kind of still be top of mind with them. So there are a couple different options here. You can share your main company page with your marketing department, and that allows you to post things about your company, your open positions, any events you have, some accomplishments. It's a way to let your employees stand out. And that's really going to depend on how much your marketing department uses your page. So if it's really product focused, then they might actually recommend that you do the paid careers tab on this. And the careers tab has a lot of really great opportunities to stand out, to add in pictures, to add in a video, to have employee testimonials on your pages. So depending on what works best for your company, you have a couple different options here on whether you utilize the LinkedIn company pages for free or you utilize the more costly careers tab on here. One of the great things that I really liked about LinkedIn company pages versus some of the other social media sites is that it's a lot more visible on your followers' pages. So on Twitter, for example, if you post something on Twitter, it gets lost in the stream very quickly. On Facebook, your page posts will only show to about 20% of your fans. It won't show to all of them. But on LinkedIn, they will actually show your updates to all of your fans as long as they're logging in. So this is a really great way to reach people if you can get them to follow this page. Some of the things that I do in marketing to get people to kind of follow and to basically to find and then follow all my pages, I'll include links to all of my pages in my email signature. They're on my business card. I kind of lead people back to them from other discussions. Hey, if you are interested in this sort of content, why don't you follow my page? I post a lot more like this. Basically just engaging with people really helps get the word out as well. So I'd recommend just being really active on LinkedIn as much as possible to make sure that you're maximizing your presence there. Facebook is another place that I really actually enjoy to have an employer brand presence. It's a really great because you have so many different options. I'd say even more than on LinkedIn. And a lot of these options don't cost anything versus on LinkedIn that they kind of do. So for example, you can share your page with your marketing team, or you can create a separate page for your product brand versus your employer brand. And a lot of companies out there have been really great with setting up their career pages. And one of the examples is HP. So HP has a ton of information, both in their introduction and in their tabs, as well as on their wall, about what it's kind of like to work there, why you should want to work there, and how to find a job there. One of the things that's really great about Facebook as well is that they have the little app section, which you can see on the bottom right part. And you can add a job posting out to your page so that candidates can come and find your positions without ever leaving Facebook. One of the ones that I'd recommend for everybody is Smart Recruiters. It's completely free, and by putting it on your Facebook page, you can not only allow people to view your jobs, but you can also share your jobs to your various social media channels very easily. And this allows your candidates to share your positions as well. So, if they're on Facebook and they have just read a friend's status update about how they're looking for a new administrative assistant job, and then they find one on your page, they can just go ahead and send that to that friend without much effort at all. Facebook's also great because you can add an endless amount of pictures, and pictures are definitely seen on Facebook because they're so huge in the newsfeed. So some of the things I recommend doing are maybe creating an album with all of your recruiters, introducing them, their names, their titles, what positions they recruit for, how to reach them, things like that. You can also add an album with all of your perks. You can do an album for each of your company events that you have. There's a lot of really great ways to showcase your employment brand through pictures, and that's a really great way to get candidates interested in applying for your position. Facebook actually also recently added a graph search, which is a wonderful way to source candidates on Facebook. It's very easy just to kind of type in location, interests, past employers, positions, things like that, and come up with a list of candidates that you might want to reach out to. And if you are not actually connected to that person, then it's only $1 to send a message to those people that you're not connected to as of now. So we'll see if that continues in the future, but Facebook's becoming a really interesting way to find candidates, especially since they have over 1 billion members, which they're about 5 times bigger than LinkedIn. In terms of response rates, I think that will definitely vary on your message and who it is you're reaching out to, how passive or active they are. But it's definitely worth checking out, especially to see if it works for some of your positions. Twitter is one of my personal favorite tools for marketing because it's such an open network. You don't have to have somebody reciprocate your follow in order to connect with them, which means that I can just follow somebody without them having to accept that I'm following them. It gives me a huge advantage over Facebook and LinkedIn because I can kind of get to know somebody. I can see content that I'm interested in, even if they're not interested in my content. So for example, I can follow both recruitment and marketing people on the same handle, but the marketing people don't really want to follow my handle back because I talk about recruitment. So that's really been wonderful. And then Twitter is also really great for sourcing candidates, for engaging with them, for promoting your employer blog content, sharing photos, pretty much everything you can share on here. And it's great for videos as well. One of the really wonderful things about Twitter is being able to find information about basically anything just by doing a hashtag search. So you can use hashtags to reach people that don't follow you. So when you're looking to hire somebody and you're posting about an open position, you can put in hashtags like marketing job, and people can search for those whether or not they follow you. But just like on all your other social networks, you don't just want to post your jobs on Twitter. In fact, it should be no more than 20% of your tweets. Because like we talked about on LinkedIn, they're not really relevant to everybody, but a lot of your other content will be. So you should share your employer blog posts, you should share your videos, Sometimes companies like to make videos of their employees describing why they like working for the company. And you can embed that right into the tweet, and the video can be viewed from within Twitter. You can share company events with the pictures attachment on your tweets as well. And then on all of those, you should also include relevant hashtags to increase your reach. So, if you're talking about something fun, you can use hashtag fun. I'm not making this up. You can pretty much make a hashtag out of anything. But there are some that are going to get a little bit better search results than others. So I definitely like. Also related to hashtags are Twitter chats. And Twitter chats are basically just a little hashtag that's put at the end of your tweet during a conversation. So one, for example, is the Hire Friday chat every Friday. And it's hashtag Hire Friday. And everybody logs in at the same time.
You are now unmuted. You are now muted.
I'm sorry about that. It looks like my phone just hung up for no apparent reason. For those of you still on here, we just have a couple more minutes left, so I'm not sure where my presentation was cut off. I'm sorry about that. I hope you all got the portion on Twitter. If not, then I will go ahead and re-record and send this out a little bit later. But we're going to go ahead and move on to Google+. And Google+ is one of the newer social media channels available, and it has a lot of the same functionality as some of the other sites. So you can post jobs, you can use hashtags to source candidates, you can answer questions, you can create a company page. There's a lot of the same functionality from the other sites. But there are a few ways that I think that Google+ is really beneficial compared to some of the other ones. It has some unique benefits that the other sites don't have. The first of which is that it's great for search engine optimization as well as for finding early adopters. So a lot of people, when Google+ first came out, the early adopters are obviously the first people that are going to sign up for it. And that's really great for if you're hiring for a tech company, if you're hiring for any position where you kind of want that first adopter. In terms of search engine optimization, this is a reason why you'll find a lot of marketers on this site. Not only just because it's a great way to market your products, to be a little bit of everywhere, but also because Google+ is directly related to Google search. And so the Google search engines take into account how popular content is in their results. So for example, if it's being shared quite a bit on Google+, as well as on some of the other sites, then it's going to rank higher in search results that are related, depending on what people are looking for. So Google+ is a really great place to share some of your blog content. to share some of your stories about why your company is the best place to work. So if you've ever wanted to rank for best places to work in San Francisco, California, but you haven't actually been named that by an award, you can actually just write a blog post about it, share some great content about what makes you one of the best places to work in your area, and try and get people to share that through social media, especially through Google+. And you can actually start ranking for that keyword fairly quickly. One of the other great things that I love about Google+ is the ability to do Google+ Hangouts. So this is one of the ways that you can engage with your candidates without actually having to be available 24/7. So one of the really unique ways I've seen this used is basically like an office hour. So if anybody remembers from back in college how your professors used to have office hours on Tuesdays between 3 and 5 p.m. Where you can go in and talk about anything that you wanted. It's the same basic premise, but for candidates to reach out to recruiters. And it's a really great way for you just to set up an office hour and be available to answer any questions that are related to job application status or benefits or whatever else it is that you want to talk about. Core is another one that I think is a very interesting way to engage with your candidates. I don't see a lot of recruiters on there, but I see a lot of job seekers asking questions. So in this one, is somebody asking, I'm in my late 20s and I want to try a new career. How can I explore new jobs the way a college student does through internships? So this is a really great way to kind of chime in if you have a position where you think that this person might be a good fit. You can kind of ask what their background looks like. You could offer some advice. This person might end up being a really great candidate, or somebody else that's a really great candidate might end up seeing your response to this question and reaching out to your company and just saying, because you've been there for them, you've been helpful, you provided value in this community. And that really goes a long way in terms of increasing your visibility to great job seekers and getting them to come to your career site, see what you're all about, and then apply to your position. Pinterest is another newer one here, and if you have a lot of visuals to share, Pinterest can be really great for that. So one of the examples that I really like is from Pizza Hut. They've actually started making infographics for some of their positions, and unfortunately, infographic is long, and PowerPoint is in the wrong kind of layout here to be able to see the whole thing. But this is a really interesting way to get them some really cool candidates. So instead of creating that boring job description, they put their job description in the form of an infographic, which is great for sharing on Pinterest as well as on Facebook and Twitter and Google+, and all of those networks that have a great way to share visual content. So yeah, if you have a Pinterest profile, you can also use it to share pictures of your company events, some of your company perks, basically anything else that we talked about, including on some of your Facebook and LinkedIn albums. Okay, and that's it for today's presentation. Thank you everybody so much for joining us today. If you have any questions at any time, don't hesitate to reach out to me via email or Twitter. And I'd encourage everybody to sign up for some more of our webinars at Bright.com/recruiter/webinars, as well as to sign up for a free trial of Bright Recruiter. So we talked about this a little bit at the beginning, but Bright Recruiter is a really great way to find candidates very quickly and to assess the quality of your candidates very quickly so that you can actually spend time getting to know them, interviewing them, and putting that human touch on your interview process. So thanks so much for joining us, and we'll see you guys next time.